Hey everyone, good morning. I am here in Arches National Park and I am doing the iconic hike to the Delicate Arch today. I am here in the park just right at sunrise and it is going to be a beautiful hike today. I got up at 4:30 this morning because I wanted to be in the park by sunrise to do this hike. And it's really the only way you can do it here. So Moab gets so stinking hot during the days and these trails have absolutely no shade. So I'm taking advantage of the cool morning to get this hike done and enjoy it while I'm out here because this temperature is just absolutely perfect. I have been, the last weekend, I've just been exploring different national parks around Utah because I've been here a year and these are just iconic parks to come visit. And I'm also having some significant life changes coming up, which is super exciting. And so I want to see these parks while I'm here because I'm not going to be in Utah that much longer. I've retired from the Army, and the way that my life has been headed is I'm going to be doing blue side yoga full time, which is like a dream come true. So that is why I am not exactly rushing through these parks, but I'm spending my significant time of my weekends exploring and seeing these beautiful areas before I would have to make a significant vacation to come back to and visit them. Why do we even have to put signs like that? Why can't we just respect nature and appreciate the beauty of it without having to mark it or put our names on it or, I don't know, whatever ridiculous stuff people do. I don't understand it. Just enjoy. It's so beautiful here. There's no need to destroy it. That was a lot of work. That was worth it though. That was a lot of elevation gain in a short amount of time. I think it evens out a bit from here. Look at all these early hikers coming back. there's a crowd up ahead, so I'm thinking we are here. Let's see. Oh, look at that. And a wedding, how sweet. Someone's taking my picture for me, so I have to get this filmed, which is super cool. Oh my gosh! All right, guys, so I wanted to talk a little bit about PTSD because it's June, it's PTSD Awareness Month. And we hear all the time, you know, like, if you are struggling, get help and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, what does that exactly mean? And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about what PTSD is and how we are all susceptible to it, and some of, you know, the signs and symptoms that you need to look out for so that you can heal. Like, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to not get help. You are just hurting yourself, you're hurting your family, you're hurting those that love you. And neuroscience has come such a long way that you can get help and you can control and manage PTSD, and it doesn't have to run your life. It takes work. So there's no magic pill. There's no, you know, secret drug out there that's just going to cure your PTSD. And I'm talking about those, you know, from those military veterans and first responders that have PTSD. I'm not talking about actual chemical, mental health, brain imbalances, and mental health issues. I'm talking strictly about PTSD here in our population. So you can manage it. You can heal from it. And I wanted to just kind of give you a background on what PTSD is so that you can understand that it is a completely normal response in the body. So trauma happens when we encounter an event that we, our own body, perceives as unsafe, unpredictable, or uncontrollable. When those three things happen, it gives a shock to our nervous system. And from there, that is how trauma is defined or created in the body. So when you have this shock to the nervous system and the brain, like everything else in the body that's injured or has an injury, has to heal. And the problem with the stigma of mental health in our community and the fact that, you know, we don't always have the time to have a full recovery means that we don't have time to heal. And so the average time frame to heal from a traumatic event is 60 to 90 days. When is the last time that something unsafe, unpredictable, or uncontrollable happened to you and you were able to heal for 90 days without something else happening to you? In our community, that is nearly impossible. So what happens when we don't heal, we get trauma on top of trauma, on top of trauma, on top of trauma, and that adds up. And the nervous system and the brain are trying to heal, but they're not given the opportunity to. So we have to adapt because humans are so adaptable to things. We have to adapt to this new normal. So the nervous system is now going to go through things like hypervigilance. We're going to go through these mood swings of, you know, anxiety, and then it may go down into depression. And when that happens, that's when we are at risk for developing PTSD. So there was an interesting statistic, and I'm going to give you the quote, but don't quote me on these numbers because I didn't get time to actually research to see if this was legit. But the implied message from it makes perfect sense. So it says that during a military veteran's or a first responder's full 20-year career, they encounter over 700 trauma-inducing events. So events that are unsafe, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. So of course there's not enough time to heal from all those. When you compare it to the average civilian, they say that there's 2 to 5 events during that same span. So that can just put in perspective on why we feel the way we feel, why trauma affects us the way it does, and why we have to work extra hard to let the nervous system heal and let our bodies heal from these traumatizing events. So ways that we can heal from this are one is spending time in nature. It's been proven, guys, that spending time in nature helps with calming the nervous system, increasing serotonin, increasing these, feelings of just overall good. We get the endorphin rush because you're exercising. It's good for the body. It's good, like all of this stuff is amazing. So, of course, my number one recommendation is to start spending time outside and doing things that you enjoy. The other thing that would be really, really helpful is to find a therapist and talk through some of these traumas. And if you think of, take away the word of trauma, but these events that were unsafe, unpredictable, and uncontrollable, your three uns, which we live in, almost every day as a military veteran and first responder. And there are ways to undo the symptoms and retrain the brain and be able to live just, really, really happily and comfortably. And that's what we all deserve, honestly. So I hope that this talk helped a little bit about understanding PTSD more. You don't just get PTSD. You get PTSD from all of these traumatic events or one huge cumulative event that you don't get to heal from. So I hope that helps put things in perspective. When we go on our treks in Nepal, we work on this kind of stuff, and we work really in depth on going into the nervous system and working on ways to undo all of those events and those traumas that live in the body. Because when we don't heal, they go elsewhere. Muscle pain, back pain, digestive problems, sleep problems, nightmares. The body wants to heal. So, all right, I'm going to get back on the trail. I hope that this helped put things in perspective. PTSD awareness, spread the word, but understand it more than just telling somebody to get help. So there's a little science behind what's going on in the body. I hope this helped. Another thing I wanted to add about trauma is that everybody reacts to their trauma differently, which is why you can have some people go through different traumatic events and it'll affect different people in different ways. And it's all about perception. So for you to have those three ingredients to make trauma, the unsafe, unpredictable, and uncontrollable event, to produce your trauma, that is how you perceive it. So something that may be traumatic to me may not be traumatic to you, and vice versa. So that's why everyone will react to things differently. And it just depends on where they are in what they perceive. So I wanted to add that little bit because I hear people say, well, I don't understand why he or she is reacting this way. This happens specifically within military units a lot, first responder units, and someone could have a really hard time with an incident that they dealt with or a specific mission or something like that. And one person may be completely fine with it, and the other may, be really struggling with it. So these are things we need to be mindful of when we're dealing with ourselves and dealing with others. Because suck it up and drive on doesn't help. These perceptions and these mindsets of mission first, this stuff is where we end up suppressing and not healing. And in turn, that is what develops into PTSD. So as I'm hiking along, I'm thinking of more things about trauma. And the one thing that I wanted to make sure that was clear is trauma can result from like one big event, or it can result from these cumulative situations where things are consisting of the three uns. And this can be a lifelong thing with our careers, just going to work in the day and having something, we call them basically stressors because it just doesn't sound or feel like it comes to that level of trauma. But when you have these things happen day after day after day after day, it accumulates into the body, and the body will process it as trauma. And that alone can end up developing into a form of PTSD as well. So I want to make sure that it's not just one large event that you think happens. It can be the cumulative of the stresses that happen during our military, veteran, and first responder careers. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. I see the parking lot and my hike is coming close to an end. So I hope you learned something about PTSD today. So just remember that PTSD happens when there's accumulated trauma in the body and we don't let that injury heal. And that injury to our nervous system comes from something that's unpredictable, uncontrollable, and unsafe. And you can't wish it away. You can't just compartmentalize it. You can't just suck it up and drive on. Like any other injury to the body, you have to let the mind and body heal. And that takes time and it takes a lot of effort, but you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You deserve to have the life that you want to have, and you can't be defined by this trauma or this PTSD. So let me know what you think. I want to hear how you are maybe dealing with healing, or ask me questions if you want some tips. My number one recommendation is getting time out in nature, of course, but to each their own. So meditation, yoga, you got to take time for yourself to heal, you guys. There's no magic pill, there's no magic exercise. It takes time and effort and a bit of a lifestyle change. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me on my hike to Delicate Arch today. And I'm gonna go explore the rest of Arches National Park because it's amazing. Bye, everybody.